Hello everyone, thanks for dropping by. As you can see, that's the new latest and greatest 2024 Cadillac CT6. If I was going to buy an American car, that'd probably be the one I'd buy, even though Americans consider that an old man's car. I quite like that design. Not keen on that paint colour, but I like that style of Cadillac. Anyway, enough about that. I don't have that kind of money as yet. Anyway, as you know, there's been a movement in the American feminist female collective called the B4 movement, and they've been posting things on TikTok and YouTube and stuff like that. So I thought I'd have a look around to see where I could find. I found this. As you can see, it's a site called 4W, and it's feminist writing, fourth wave for women. And it was written by a lady called S.L. Kiley on 14th of November 2021. This could be the lady that wrote this article. As you can see, it's titled, "Is it time for a 4B movement in the West?" It's a rant type article, predominantly aimed at women by a woman who's obviously an extreme left-wing feminist. Because looking down, it says South Korean radical feminists have been kicking ass in the last few years with movements like Take Off the Corset that sees them rejecting cosmetics and strict South Korean beauty norms in droves, organizing massive protests against the depravity of male voyeurism via webcams stashed in bathrooms and hotel rooms. I agree on that. That shouldn't be done. That's just wrong. And creating their own female exclusive spaces online in the real world. Well, on that, here in the West, women have been going into what used to be all exclusive male spaces, i.e. gentlemen's clubs in the upper echelons of our collective societies. Now it says one of the most come on, Christopher. It says, but one of the most radical and seemingly harsh movements to emerge from South Korea is the 4B. No dating men, no having sex, no marrying men and not having their children. It is essentially deciding to excise men from their lives, at least in the romantic sense. Well, feminists in the West have been doing that since 1920 here in Western Europe and in America and in Canada. You and your patriarchal bros are going to treat us like shit and keep oppressing us. The movement seems to say, fine, and the pussy is completely off limits. And then she has a dig, have fun jerking off you across the old sock. Well, this lady, if she's the one who wrote it, forgets that men with money and resources can always get access to coochie, no matter who they are. Because there's loads of women who work as escorts and in the lower echelons of that profession. And then it goes down. There's little evidence that this movement has led to South Korean men changing their behaviour. In fact, hatred of the feminist movement only seems to be ramping up, with men throwing a hissy fit online over the pinching gesture emoji used by radical feminists to indicate we shall see that anti-feminist men are lacking in certain areas. No doubt she's a reference to the side of a guy's penis or something like that. But then it goes down. Is it time for women in the West to follow their lead. It may be already happening. Birth rates in North America and Europe have declining, mimicking a similar trend in Asian countries, including South Korea. The most popular dating apps are skewed heavily male, showing that women aren't exactly falling all over themselves to date men. Of course not. They only want to date Chad or his brother Tyrone, or the top 10% or 1% of men They're not interested in the run-of-the-mill, average, decent guys. And it says, whoops, women are more inclined to pursue a college degree or a high-paying career than a wedding ring. In other words, they put their career before marriage and children and a family. Despite the sex positivity movement touted by liberal feminists, millennials and Gen Zers are two of the most sexless generations in recent history. Well, of course, if women don't, those generations, feminists, millennials and Gen Zs don't want to have sex with guys, then there will be a sexless generation. And then it goes, where is it now? If women in the younger generations aren't getting married in the same numbers as the generations before them, there are still pressures to become some man's forever girlfriend. In other words, a situationship, and find a partner of some kind. Women are still conditioned from girlhood to cater to men's expectations and needs. That is wrong. That's just feminist talk. And more recently, there's been an article of hand-wringing article about the plunging birth rates, inevitably written by men, not necessarily. Very few articles outside the feminist spaces have been written pointing out that declining birth rates mean women have more autonomy, which is supposed to be a good thing in our equal societies. Also, it means a declining workforce. And then more yada yada from her, and she just finishes off. I will do that. I'm not going to bear this. Come on, Christopher. I think it's time to say no firmly and equivocally. No, I'm not going to date a member of the oppressor class. We're oppressors now, apparently. I'm not going to marry one, not going to bear his children, and offer up even more victims to society where one sex treated as second class to the other. And I will carry on doing that until every single woman and girl on this planet has been liberated. Well, best of luck in that, sweetheart. Anyway, this at sea, a feminist rant about the 4B movement. But actions have consequences, and as you can see in this article done on April 16th, 2024, South Korea is running out of children. Is this America's future? And it goes on about it. If you've been on TikTok last few weeks, you might have seen that American women are talking about 4B. The South Korean feminist movement has its name, 4 No's. But also on TikTok, there's been Korean women living in Korea saying that they've never heard of the 4B movement. It does exist, but it's really a tiny, tiny fraction of the South Korean women population. And the reason they're not having children is the cost is just too expensive. The cost of living is through the roof. That's why they can't afford to have children. If it was cheaper, then South Korean women will have children because they want to get married and have a family. These 4B South Korean feminists are just a fraction of 1%. Like the transvestites in the Western world, they're only a fraction of 1%. It says the South Korean feminist movement got its name with the 4 No's: adherence to no sex, no dating, no marriage, and no children. But it goes right now. Right now, South Korea is running out of children. Last week, it reported the Education Ministry plans to reduce the number of teaching training places, citing the precipitous decline in students. That is probably going to come to America soon, which is so extreme that in March this year, more than 150 schools across South Korea had no new first graders. That is also probably going to come to America with your declining birth rate. And then it goes, when I visited Seoul in 2022 to report why Koreans aren't having babies, I found myself wondering, could this happen in America? Yes. and it goes up. Our America's fertility rate is below the replacement rate of 2.1. It's currently 1.8, and dozens of conversations with Koreans of reproductive age. Now, the big thing in America in the election, I believe, is the abortion issue that started in Texas. So that's going to have a dramatic impact on the American population, whether it will go up or down. It also, with abortion, it could have a dramatic effect on the American women's attitude to sex and getting pregnant, knowing she can't have an abortion because if she lives in Texas, so she might have to cross the state. But if other states around Texas start doing the same thing, then the American population could go up, or American women won't be such 304s, and they will start having children in a stable married relationship as they should. Anyway, as it said, Americans want a good old-fashioned heterosexual relationship, struggle to find someone who shares their values. In other words, a conservative woman. Analysis has shown a gigantic mismatch in the nation's dating pool. For each single liberal woman there exists 0.6 single liberal men. Conservative young men have it even worse, with just a 0.5 single conservative young women available to choose from. And then it goes, Gen Z showed women and men how much further apart on fundamental questions of gender equality in the generation before them, whereas 52% of millennial men say they're feminists, compared to 54% of women. Those 52% of millennial men that says they're feminists are just simps that just want to get with a woman for sex, and they think if they say they're feminists they'll have a better choice of doing it. But they don't understand that women are mostly after Chad, his brother Tyrone, and the top 10% and 1% of men. That's modern women, that is. And then it goes down, recent data divided globally. Americans haven't given up having the family that South Koreans have. And young American women haven't been making TikToks about phobia out of curiosity. An increasing number are generally swearing off male partners, and the hashtag celibacy journey racking up tens of millions of views. In other words, it's a current thing. And boy sober is also the current trend. The New York Times in February described going boy sober as this year's current mental health craze. Meanwhile, men who are involved in involuntary celibacy, in other words bachelors, are retreating to online echo chambers, and they've also got hobbies, now harbour 8 times as many instances of degrading language, and that will be a poke at MGTOW. Anyway, then it goes yada 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 yada. All signs point to a never-ending risk between the sexes, and if women and men become sworn enemies, America is going to start running out of children too. And to back that up, it's not just you. Women are losing interest in men dating and in marriage. This was done 3 years ago, so that's 2021, 2020. If you're general yada about it, that's the only reference to MGTOW in this article. The MGTOW movement is alive and well. It's a vocal crowd. It's got a whole PR thing and everything. That PR could be Sandman, 33 Secrets, Company of Kings, Better Bachelor, and all those sorts of YouTube channels, and of course my little effort. But anyway, if you scroll down, these bits are a bit interesting. There is a double standard when it comes to dating choices and safety. Choosing the right partners on girls, they're told to give a guy a chance regardless of whether they're attracted to the man. A lot of men simply don't have social skills or empathy. No, and a lot of guys do, but they just find that it's not much good to them because she just brushes you off because she's only after the top 10% or 1% of men. But if the guy was Chad or Tyrone, then he wouldn't matter what his social skills are, she'd be after him. If men can't hold a conversation with someone well, why would anyone want to date them? Moreover, if a guy treats women they are not attracted to like trash, that could be Chad, ejaculate and evacuate, why would the girl they do like want to date them? And then men treat women as burnt girls out. The one thing you can see on 2X chromosomes is that why many girls just can't stand the way men act toward women. Many men feel like men don't actually like women. No, we just don't like women who act like men. I can't blame them for this. There's no security in dating. This made me laugh. Men do not have much to offer women but hold a high risk of ruining women's lives. Yes, men make more than women do. That is still much alive, but studies show women work way more if they marry than men will. And more men are ever unwilling to commit. That be a nod towards MGTOW. It's often said that men are the gatekeepers of the relationship, while women gatekeepers of sex. We all know that. With fewer men willing to commit to one girl comes more women going, okay, I'm going to reciprocate with this crap. And then more yada yada. Excuse me. And then finishes off, until everyone makes an effort to make the relationships look worthwhile, we're going to continue to see people stay single by choice, or at least that's my 2 cents. This lady is Asima Tepfenhart. She's a writer based in New Jersey. But that's the women's side. The guys have also got a say, because I found this. This is Katya Culver. It's her, another lady. This was done on November 13th, 2022. Why men have given up on dating, understanding the MGTOW movement. It just a general introduction, and then lots of reasons why guys don't want to date anymore. My last relationship drained me mentally, emotionally and physically. Thank God she broke up with me. I'm not even bitter. It made me realize that I don't want to be with anyone anymore and just want my dogs, coffee and the gym. Then dating women requires a lot of money and effort with little chance of reciprocation. If someone generally falls in my lap, I would consider it. Otherwise, it's not worth my time. I have better things to do. He's got a hobby. And then yada 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 yada. I'll leave these links naturally below, but with the guy at the gym, I found this about MGTOW. Men are boycotting gyms and its impact on the fitness industry. The 60% of gyms has closed. Planet Fitness saw its stock drop by 15%. That's the MGTOW effect, signifying a significant economic impact on the fitness industry. And then it goes, why? False accusing sensitivity, inclusive impact, policy influence, economic trend, gym closes with in 2023 economic expansion. Planet Fitness dropped 15% as mentioned. Industry shift speed in under a year. Male gym attendance significantly reduced, driven by concerns over women videotaping and creep calling. We've all seen the videos on YouTube about that. And the business model shift. Gyms need to adapt to declining male interest, re-evaluating traditional membership-focused models. And also the whole gym industry is going through the roof as guys build their own gyms so they can train and get fit in the privacy of their own home without any woman causing them problems if they go to a normal public gym. But men have given up on dating, and these guys, they're given the reason why. But women are also not interested in men. And the result is South Korea is running out of children, and it could be America's future. But ladies like this don't understand that this is the impact of her B4 actions. This is the impact of feminism treating men like disposable assets. And this is the result. And this is one of the things which is causing the fitness industry to go into a severe decline. Well, ladies like this don't seem to realise all that. I think I'm on the 20-minute now, so I'll have to just leave it at that. Sorry it's a bit rambly, but I didn't find that much. I found one or two things about the coming presidential election, so I might go cover that next week. But for now, you know the routine. Like, dislike, completely up to you. So until next Monday, that's it. Bye-bye.